Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams, joined by Callum Brannan and Owen Parks, and we are doing the extra time from the Everton Wolves game. First off, lads, give me your thoughts on the game. I'll start with you, Cal.
It wasn't very good, was it? To put it nicely, I think there were a few bright spots, and by a few I mean very minimal. I think Richarlison was quite good. I think he was, let himself get caught offside a few much, and I think he fell for the high line a bit. But him and Anthony Gordon were, I'd say, two of the only bright spots of the game. I think it was just dull. We didn't seem to want it, which seems like the really big problem. We just seemed to be content with a point, and then eventually we were, Connor Cody, good goal, but at the same time, I know Ben's just come back, so I don't want to jump on him, but it's the same, not jumping for set pieces and not going for the ball problem that we identified. But it's just a hard one because I couldn't really give you many positives from this game, but at the same time, it could have been a lot worse at the same time.
Owen, give me your thoughts.
I'm going to be a lot less positive than that. When I came out the ground yesterday, I thought we're done. I think we're done. It's not that the league table's bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not that it's like the situation's sort of unassailable. It's the fact that we're not showing anything. We're not. You said it was. I wish it was a bit muddled because I felt like there was a period in the second half for about 15 minutes where if they really had a better final passer or a bit more because they played sort of 3 midfielders and 5 defenders, if they maybe had another attacker or something, they could have really put 2 or 3 passes because we were all over the place. First half, there was a bit of there was a game plan there I could see, but then I felt like the scores came on the board at Goodison and the place went flat instantly. So that was the realisation, we've got to win this, and we didn't look like winning it. And then it got worse and worse and worse, and it wasn't enough. And I said we needed 4 points from these games against Newcastle and Wolves. Well, we've been beaten to Wolves, so we're already lower than my sort of target. But if we don't at least, it's going to be a really difficult one because we don't pick points up away from home full stop, so we can forget about that. And then if you're banking on your home form, and that looks like it's going west as well. I just don't see there isn't anything in this team or this setup that makes me think that we'll get out of it, and then that's a real worry because I look every other team down there. I know it's easy to say when it's not you and it's someone else, and they'll probably be saying similar things, but everyone else seems to have something you can point to and go, that might be why they get out of it, or you'll score goals or whatever. It seems like we're just going down. We're the worst team in the league since September. So what does that say? We've got 9 points since September. So to me, we're the worst team in the league. There's no doubt about it. We are the worst team in the league, and we've just got to hope that we can hang on to 17 somehow, because I don't think it'll come from us. I think it'll come from just 3 teams having less points than us due to the fact that we had a good start. Well, I say a good start, a good 5 games. That might be what keeps us up, because it really is. And I think everyone will just be thinking, what can we do to stop it? I'm not sure the answers are in the club at the moment.
Yeah, well, coincidentally, I was going to ask you lads a little bit later on, but we might as well do it now. Owen sort of touched on it. Cal, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're done? Because obviously this game and the Newcastle game, there was a lot of pressure on online. A lot of people saying these are must wins, or at least, like Owen said, must get some sort of result from them. They failed the first one. Newcastle, which they've already beat us this season, it's not as easy as I'd hope. You think we are done, or are you just that little bit more optimistic that we might just survive?
I wouldn't say I'm optimistic. Oh, bloody hell. I won't say I'm optimistic, but I also think we're going to survive on the main thing of what Owen said, really, of the fact that there's just going to be 3 teams worse than us and that we're going to get lucky. When we're going to survive off of other teams' failures, not our own accomplishments, which is,
But do you not think except Norwich, shouldn't, maybe because they're a bit far gone, do you not think every other team's got something about them, no? That even they could pick a result up? I just don't see anything.
I think, I get what you mean. I just think Leeds
Like
can't
won 2 games.
I think Leeds are just, I don't know. I don't know if now Marsh is going to get them clicking, but Leeds before Marsh anyway, absolutely awful.
Brentford, they did only win in the last minute.
Brentford might have got lucky that Ivan Toney's at a purple patch now, and he's starting to score goals. But I get your point, but I just think, I don't know if it is blind optimism and hope, to be completely honest with you. I'll be the first one to hold my hands up and say that's a possibility, but I just think there is going to be, may not even 3 teams worse than us, but there's going to be 2 teams worse than us and 1 team that might stay a similar level to us. But just because, for example, Burnley, and then they just survive. Well, we just survived because they couldn't pick up enough, not that we were good enough. Because to be honest with you, I just don't understand what the club, I don't understand how we can go play Man City and then perform the way we did against Man City and then absolutely fall apart. I think the players' heads are in it, and I think that's the biggest thing. Because I think talent-wise, this squad should be not anywhere massive, but comfortably mid-table. This squad should be. We should never have to be worried about a relegation in March. We should already be safe at this point. But I don't think the players are in it. I think Calvert-Lewin's already, looking out for a move to Arsenal. I think, the players, Mason Holgate seems to want to argue with his teammates more than actually perform. And then, the players that have some promise, Donny van der Beek, Richarlison, Anthony Gordon, it's like they never click at the same time. I think we very rarely get a game where everyone seems to click and we all play well. I think a lot of the times you'll see Anthony Gordon stand out, and then the next game Richarlison stands out and no one stands out. I think my hope and prayer is that this ends up being like an Eddie Howe at Newcastle situation where they were absolutely dreadful the first few games under him. And then maybe we just pick up steam towards the end and that's what survives. That's what keeps us up. But I think the worst part is that's what we're hoping for to keep us up.
Did you not think, though, that the 100 million he spent in January might have helped them do that? And not any kind of... There was nothing there that was going to keep them up. They would have gone. But they had a very expensive transfer window, and they didn't buy world beaters, but they bought players who knew the Premier League. They knew the way around the relegation battle, and but between what was there and what they brought us in, it's been more than enough to get them out of it. I just look at us and I think our January business was woeful. It was just genuinely hilariously bad. I think every one of the signings we either didn't need or aren't good enough. And I think that's a big difference. The recruitment in January between the 2 teams, I think, I don't know. I think, like, why the El Ghazi signing just baffles me even more every day, because we bought the lad on loan. And if we just, what was the point? Because we didn't want him. Well, certain people wanted him, but the Rafa Benitez didn't want him. He's on loan and he's filled up a space in the squad that could have been for a centre half or a centre midfielder or a defensive one. We're just so wide open when the ball. We can't defend our own box. That's really worrying. That every ball that comes into our box, it's like what you do. You mentioned the Man City performance, but that was more of that looks out of place. No, every other performance has been terrible, and that was all right. I think it was kind of easy for us to set up against Man City because we knew what we had to do. There weren't much risk attached to the game, and we just followed the game plan, and it should have worked because that was another thing. We don't get decisions from referees either, so when you're fighting against the referees, that's also not an easy thing. When we're fighting against ourselves, the opposition, and the referee most weeks. But I don't know. I think the Newcastle point. I think they Eddie Howe changed the way he's played. Normally he played at Bournemouth and Newcastle, and it's got results coupled with the January signings. I think if we're going to survive, and it's a big if, Frank Lampard has to change his style of play, because the current style and the game to game changing the formations won't keep us in the league.
I don't understand personally why we don't stick with a 4-3-3. I think it's the formation that we get the best out of. The three in midfield at least helps us from getting overrun, because the amount of games when we'll, even under Rafa, where we played this weird little 3-5 back formation and we'd get absolutely dominating in midfield. Because Donny van der Beek is probably the only good signing we made in January for impact on the squad now.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
then, when you put him in a 2-man midfield, he's rendered useless, because he's not a fellow you playing a 2-man midfield. He's a free. When he was playing for Ajax and Man United, well, he didn't play much, but when he played for Ajax, he played in a 3-man midfield. If he's in a 4-4-2 or a 3-4-3, he doesn't get the time and the ball that he needs. And so, but this is my other issue. We change formation every game, so that there's no way of ever betting down any form of consistency. If it was 4-4-2 every game or 3-4-3, at least you could say, well, they found a formula and they're just trying to improve it. So when it's fixed, we can go. But we change in every game, and I don't know. The manager really needs to look at that, because that will be part of the reason we get relegated. The systems we played this season, because we haven't found one that suits the players, and wherever it be, and it needs to come out now, really.
Yeah, and another thing is, like, surely, right, there's got to be one decent centre-back in Russia or Ukraine with this rule where we can take someone on the free until the end of the season and send them back. You're telling me there is not one decent big centre-back who can just clear the ball and make good tackles? It's got to exist. Like, because I'm sorry, Michael Keane's on his days good, but his decision-making's awful. He's got the capabilities to be a good centre-back, but then one of the most important things about it, decision-making, is absolutely dreadful. Mason Holgate's very on and off. I think more off than on, but you can't have a centre-back who's inconsistent. Ben Godfrey, bloody hell, he's been hampered by everything this season as that lad. And I think him and Mina are the two good centre-backs we've got, but Mina can't string together 4 games, and Ben Godfrey this season's the same, really.
Yeah, you're right. It's just I don't know where we go from here, because I can't see what keeps us up, and that's the worrying thing. I think if I just there's nothing in this team. There's no fight in the team either. When we went 1-0 down, we might as well blew the whistle then, because there was no response, and I don't know why we only made 2 subs yesterday either. That was kind of mad. You throw everything at it, don't you? If we'd have got beat 2 or 3 in the last 10 minutes by just sticking players forward just to try and get a draw from the game, because you lose a point or you lose 2 goals, you'd rather try and gain the points. But I don't know. And then it just all seems a recipe for relegation for me. But
yeah, and it's just and it's the Dele Alli thing confuses me as well, because don't get me wrong, he hasn't been very good since he's come in, but the guy's been given 15-minute cameos. I don't know what Frank expects from him. You know what I mean? I think we know Dele Alli, deep within him, there is a fantastic player, but how's he meant to get any sort of, match sharpness, match fitness if he's playing a different position in a different formation for 15 minutes every week, Yeah. You've got I think someone like Dele Alli's got to be given a chance to start now. And I know that people are going to say, so who gets dropped? Alan Decore? I think you've got to just give him a chance, because we need quality now, I think. And you know what I'll give Dele Alli is, when he comes on, at least the lad seems like he actually wants to win the ball and stuff. Give it to...
I thought he went through the motions a bit yesterday when he came on.
I was going to say, I think he's been caught going through the motions a couple of times. I think it was one of the first times he came on, he was caught. He runs a little bit when we've got the possession, but sometimes I think he's tracking back, which again, I don't know why you'd play him so deep, because he just doesn't look like he's...
If if you're going to play Dele Alli and you're going to start him, you've got to build the team around him, and you've got to get him close to the striker and play a system that allows him to make runs off the striker and get him involved in the game. If you're giving him 15 minutes towards the end in a system that doesn't suit him, it's just pointless because he's never going to get any kind of run going. But I'm kind of cautious on him because, yes, equally, I didn't think he came on and gave us a lot. I thought he went through the motions a lot yesterday, and I was really disappointed with that. But equally, I'm not sure what he's supposed to be able to do when he's coming on and the system's changing he changed every 5 minutes, second half yesterday. I don't know what formation we were playing. It was like one of us were in the technical area and we just had 5 minutes each and we came up with a different formation. It was embarrassing. But I'm not sure what he's supposed to do, but I think Anthony Gordon, he gives everything. And I think even if he was rubbish and he'd run round, we could say it might take him a few weeks. But I don't know, when he played against, I think it was Leeds, he did do well. So it's an interesting one. But I think if we're going to play him, we're going to have to build the attacks around him, not just throw him in at the deep end like that, because he's not going to do anything off the bench like that.
But the thing is as well, I don't even think that's impossible. I think the only problem with it is it means Alan or Decore miss out, or maybe even Van der Beek. But at the same time, we need quality. We need quality in the final third, and Richarlison and Dele Alli would work well together. You can just see that both of them firing, it would work. And I think Richarlison is. I can't give the guy crap because he's got no service whatsoever. I mean, he was offside a bit too much and he gets caught a bit too much. But to be fair, him and Anthony Gordon seem like two of the only players that give one.
He was the only one who looked like he was going to score, weren't he?
Yeah.
If there was going to be anyone, it's going to be him.
Yes, and it's like, I'm at the point now where if we stay up, to be honest with you, I'd much rather have Richarlison as my striker than Calvert-Lewin. Because the thing is with Calvert-Lewin is is his head in the game anymore for us? Does he care? Does Calvert-Lewin realise that?
Cares. I wouldn't level Darren because he's come through we're all with us when he was playing in the under-23s and he got. I wouldn't level the fact he doesn't care on him because I think that he has proved he's got it better over time. If he didn't care, he wouldn't ultimately have got to where he's got.
But my thing is, now I don't think. Go on, sorry.
I don't think he's been helped by the club this season at all, particularly Benitez, who when he was injured for 4 months, injuries happened, one of them. But on his first game back after 4 months, he played him for 90 minutes, and that finished him for the season for me because he's never going to get that fitness back now because he just ruined himself playing 90 minutes cold after 4 months of not playing. It was ridiculous. But then again, sacking the director of medical services, who did a great job at Everton, was maybe the reason why that stuff happened. And if Benitez wasn't such an idiot, he'd realised the bloke was doing well at his job.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Maybe he doesn't care is the wrong way to word it, but my idea is now he's looked at it and gone, I've done everything for this club, because he has, to be fair to the lad. He scored goals for us and he's clearly passionate, but now he looks at it.
Can't hear you, mate.
Yeah, you've gone on mute, Cal.
Give it a sec. You can probably hear
me
now. There we go. Right. Anyway, I think my thing is with Calvert-Lewin is he looks at it now and he might think, can I do anything to save these lads now? I've tried my hardest, but, are we at that point? And the thing is with Richarlison as well this season especially is he's just going to offer more than Calvert-Lewin can, like you said, Owen. I just don't think he has the legs in him because he's been... Did he not do it to him twice where he got injured, brought him on, played him for like 40 minutes, didn't look fit to play at all? Did he bring him off the bench and he just didn't look ready? Got injured again, then made him play the full 90. And it's just...
Yeah.
It's just...
He hasn't been handled well either way.
No, and you look at it, and if you're him, you know what? You couldn't blame him for going, do you know what? I'm not getting injured again because of you idiots. I've got... I could be playing Champions League football next season. If the rumours are that Arsenal really want him are true. And to be honest, I think they're getting top four, so you can't blame the lad. But It's just there is no style of play, isn't there? There's an ideal style of play. There's a want, but we're also miles away from that. And I just think
I've said for about 18 months now that this idea of a high press possession based team or Everton with this squad and players is just like fantasy land, because the defenders can't defend in a high line. That we've got midfielders awkward in possession. We've got strikers who, if you think Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, they probably do the best work when the ball's being whipped into the box and they can get on the end of stuff. So playing nice neat 1-2s on the edge of the box, I don't think it's going to get the best out of them. And we bought wingers in the summer, whatever you think of them, who's best, who's getting out wide and getting the ball in the box. So why are we trying to play a way that is playing through midfield, playing through the back, and playing the high line? It just makes no sense to me. But it goes throughout the club run. It's just ridiculous how we're trying to. Frank Lampard's he's got his ideal way of playing, and that's his way of playing. So if they took one look at our squad and then look for the way Frank plays as the answer, then I'm sorry, then they're even more deluded than I thought, because I thought the idea of getting Benitez in was getting the manager who could organise the defence, and if he wasn't, he just sabotaged the club, to be fair. But I look back at what Carlo did, and Carlo got the back 4 or 5 wherever he played sorted and played on the break, and that got a decent points total last season. We're going to have to find something like that, and we're in the situation where Lampard's going to have to go to that if we're going to get any points, because this notion of we'll chase teams all over the pitch and we'll play it out from the back and do what Man City do, it isn't going to get us out of trouble, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
we're not going to do it.
I think if you want to play that style of football of keeping the ball, you have to look at a side like Southampton, who can do both. Southampton can dominate possession if they have to, but then Southampton have got this system where they can play and they can sit back and they can catch you on the break. And I think there is a few players in the Everton team who could play not possession football, but maybe the style Frank wants in a sense. With I think Godfrey, Richarlison, Gordon, because I think Richarlison is good off the last shoulder, but like you said, I think why does Vitaly Mykolenko play left wing back? Because I think
he looks awkward in possession, doesn't
wing back and full back, it's completely different thing. I think if the lads played in a I can't speak English today, a flat back 4, he'd do a better job. And I think surely I love Seamus Coleman, and he's another one who puts his all in. But surely giving Patterson a shot's not the worst idea now, because can he do much worse? Because the thing is with Coleman runs his heart out, keeps trying, and then his body fails on him. And then his body
Patterson did well against Bournemouth myself. I was stunned when he went off.
I don't know why everyone was saying he was crap. I'm on the same side of you.
I didn't think he was anything amazing, but what he did do was he played in that wing back system and he got in behind their defence a few times, and if we'd got to find a better ball, he would have been in. He played really high up the pitch. We just didn't, give him the ball or give him the chance to have a go at their fullbacks. And that was my issue. When the fact that he was doing anything wrong, it should have been for me Kenny, who probably should have come off that night because he was the spare part in the back 3. So to take him off like that and then not even put him on the bench since, and he didn't really do much wrong for me, I think that's a poor move for me, though.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you point out. Obviously, like you're saying, Cal, I think there's players, there's parts of tools that could probably play Lampard's way. But I think the overall sort of feeling would be, though, there's a time, if we had time is of the essence. It takes time to implement. You'll have to, like Owen said, there's players that won't suit that system. They need to leave. I just have the feeling now that, bearing in mind how much of a danger relegation is, we could have done with being a little bit more work with the tools you've got, instead of trying to force a style that is might be good when he's got all the parts for it. But I'd much rather him just play to the strengths of the squad, which is a low block, get it out to the wingers and get the ball delivery into the box.
I don't think he's going to do that, though. There's nothing I've heard from him.
Neither do I.
I don't think. I don't think he's going to do it. And
it's just, you don't have to play this sit back and pray for Sam Allardyce, pray for Allied football. We don't, but we can't play Barcelona tiki taka. He has to find the middle ground between that. And, surely someone, what is he? Bloody hell, he like genius level IQ or something mental like that. Surely you can find that middle ground where, just like Southampton, where sometimes, pacey counter-attacks are of the essence, and then sometimes holding the ball up a little bit more is important. Because there's no way on God's green earth you're going to have Michael Keane playing like Ruben Diaz.
No, I actually think the only way this team can set up at the moment is Sam Allardyce tactics, because I just don't see this team doing anything other than look a result out, because they've shown nothing that they can play in defending space, and that's me worried. They can keep the ball and slow it down if they want to at times, and that's fine because they should be able to pass the Premier League footballs. But to play in a high line, you've got to be a good defender, or not good, but you've got to be able to. You've got to have a bit of pacing behind, and you've got to be able to judge the flight of a ball. And none of our defenders can do that. Kenny and Coleman can't do that. Keane can't do that. Holgate can't do that. Godfrey, he might, but him on his own, you can't just play Godfrey, can you? It's just, I do think we need to sit a bit deeper. Did we try that yesterday? I still think we were pretty high at times. It's just, I don't know. I just think we need to find a formula that can win games, and I don't see the manager wanting to defend deep, because every interview he's ever done, I don't know, when he was unemployed or Chelsea or Everton, has never suggested he's willing to compromise the way he wants to play, and that's got to be a worry, that we're not looking to exhaust every possible chance that we've got to get a result, and we're just sticking to one way of playing. This is me worry when we're looking for a new manager, that Frankie might do well at Chelsea with the best players in the country who used to playing attacking football, or at Derby when they were regularly in the playoffs before he was there and when he was there. But when he's got to come into a battle at Everton, and he's got to find a way, he hasn't got the experience to do that, and I think he's got to find that from somewhere. Maybe it's Paul Clement, because Paul Clement did play a different way at Swansea. So what most Swansea managers have done over the years, he did play a bit more on the break. Maybe he can. I don't, because they did stay up under Paul Clement. I don't know. It's a difficult one, but he's got to find something in these next 12 games. Otherwise, we're looking at the Championship next season.
Yeah, and I think another thing about it is, I think a big thing about that style of football is confidence. You've got to be confident in yourself and confident in the players around you. None of these players have confidence. I think the only one who does is Anthony Gordon, and that's because, the only way you need to give Anthony Gordon is a bit of confidence. The only thing Gordon needs for confidence is just to be played. And I think that's enough for him. And he proved it against Wolves.
He's got good standards as well, though, hasn't he? He won't accept performance and effort levels like some of them do.
No, he won't.
He's got standards that even if he doesn't play well, he gives a certain level of effort, and that's why he always plays, and that's why I'd be very disappointed if he got dropped.
Yeah, and I think another thing is why I don't know why he dropped Alan. Alan's a player who I think a lot of Everton fans have been if and but on. I don't know why. I think the guy's fantastic. I think.
Oh, me too. I think he's a phenomenal footballer.
Especially,
I think he lacks pace, but technical ability and reading the game is brilliant.
Yeah, I think if you want to play this high line, and I think if you do play a high line, I think not a big Holgate fan, but I think it has to be Holgate and Godfrey. At least the two centre backs who can run. If you're going to play a high line, I think Godfrey especially was we've seen Ben Godfrey outsprint Kyle Walker before, so he's got it in him. But I just think Alan has to play because he's the perfect screen in front of the in front of the defense, and it's just with him there, it at least offers us. He's like Everton's little safety blanket. just like Idrissa Gueye was before him. I don't think he's as good as Gueye in defensively anywhere, but I think he offers the defence a bit more security to play a high line with his ability to intercept the ball. And I just think it's baffling that he didn't play.
I didn't get the thought process behind the two-man midfield of Decore and Van der Beek personally, because I don't think they've got defensive instincts in them. I think Alan, he's not a 6 for me, Alan. He's more of an 8, but he's more of a 6 than the other two. And that's why I would have given it, I'd have played him over one of the other two and or gone to all three. But if he was going to play a 3-4-3, it would have been Alan and someone else, because Alan can drop a bit into them defensive areas and pick the ball up and get her away from trouble, whereas the others want to get forward more, and they haven't got the same awareness as Alan's got. Alan, I would play every game if I was the manager, because I think he's really good. He lacks pace, but he's got intelligence and technical ability, and he does, for me, does give everything. I'm surprised that after the horror show against Tottenham, the one he singled out to drop was Alan. That's interesting. So I thought he was one of the better players that night.
Obviously, going back to the game, just because I know we're a bit short on time here, I just want to get back to there was the one red card, Jonjoe Kenny. Saw a couple of people on Twitter. I personally think it was a deserved second yellow. Seen a couple of people argue differently. Just want your thoughts quickly on that one. Do you think he deserved his second yellow, or?
Yeah,
he deserved it because he was stupid. Why would you?
I think me and Owen are probably going to say the exact same thing here. On how on God's green earth? Because the thing is, right, slide for the ball, but he were nowhere near even winning the ball.
I think he fell for it. Truly.
It's like he slid, and then started sliding. It's like when you play FIFA and you press the button, and it's like as soon as he goes to the ground, he can't stop himself. Like, surely he realizes then, I know what I'm about to do here, and it's just you could see it on his face that he was just like, "What have I just done?"
He couldn't wait to get down that tunnel, because he wouldn't. He was down. He couldn't get down that tunnel quick enough.
No, he ran down that tunnel.
You don't give the referee a decision to make, and then you've just been booked 3 minutes before that. Don't give him a decision to make. Stay on your feet, and if he goes past you, there's another player who isn't booked to take him out. He was going nowhere. He was just brain dead. But everyone wants him to get a new contract. So what do I know?
And I think Jimenez saw it coming. You could see just about showed enough of the ball for Jonjoe Kenny to think, "Oh yeah, I'm getting this." Only to go in. I was watching it back before, and I was like, I can't believe he's done that. I cannot believe. The only thing I can think of is he really doesn't want to play Newcastle. He doesn't want any more of this. But
you know what though? Him not playing Newcastle might be a good thing, because at least he might play back 4 now.
We just have to change the system again.
It'll be Coleman at right back as well. Don't get excited about Patterson. It'll be Coleman at right back.
Don't worry, we'll be back at 3 at the back with Palace on Sunday. We'll then go 4-4-2 against West Ham.
It'll be 3 at the back, and instead of Coleman at centre back, he'll play Patterson at centre back.
Honestly, he just can't write it nowadays with him. Honestly, I know people used to say Ancelotti had a tombola of sort of names to be picked, but Frank Lampard seems to do it with formations.
Yeah, but at least we won under Ancelotti.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for all people used to criticise his team selection, at least they were effective.
We got 60 points under Ancelotti. We'll still get 30.
I'm not going to talk, because I'm his super fan. I'm his agent. I'm his this, that, and the other, so I'm not going to mention that.
What everyone says about you and Carlo.
His propaganda team.
I just think the bloke did a great job with what he had. He didn't have many options in attack, and we got decent points total. And yeah, I think he did a good job.
Didn't we get? I am right, aren't we? 60 points we got.
59.
59 points. With
Hindsight's
bloody Michael Keane at centre back. Come on.
We were 4th of a month to go.
Well, the thing is, anyone who calls Carlo a crap manager, just go watch the second leg of PSG Real Madrid.
No, he's doing a great job there, isn't he?
No, it's just the things I'd do for that man back.
Yeah, me too. But I worried when he left that this. I didn't think it'd be as bad as this, but I did worry we'd be in a situation where we'd be much further down the league because I think I said a lot last season. A different manager, maybe a more naive manager or a worse manager, would have this team on about 40 points. Now, I don't even think we're going to get that, so I was probably overestimating the amount of points we would get.
We're going to finish. We're going to finish on about 32 points, and we're going to get lucky because Watford are going to finish 18th with 31 points, or something like that.
Saying that though, they've picked more points up under Roy than we have since the turn of the year. So.
Yeah. And you know what? That's not hard though, is it? But it's just the dream is we can finish 17th and somehow squeak an FA Cup win. Because we said this, I think it was us last time, Connor. If we choose winning an FA Cup and going down, I could not care less about that FA Cup if it means we go down.
I don't think anyone would pick the FA Cup over staying in the league, to be fair. If you are, you're
I wouldn't.
You're a bit mad.
If we got beat 3-0 to Palace next Sunday, but beat Newcastle 3-0, I'm happy.
So I'm not fussed about the cup this year, to be fair. That is probably where we're going to leave it, though, because we've got the Zoom timer slowly ticking down. I just want to say thank you, Cal and Owen, for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to get your thoughts on the absolute state that is Everton. Don't forget, guys, you can comment down below your thoughts on the game and how you think this season's going to go. Do you think we're going to get relegated? Like the video as well, and subscribe to the channel, and take care.